Hi everyone, and welcome back to DeLorean Nation. Today we've got a story of an adventure of Kevin and Mike, if you will. A bit of a shaggy dog story, but it starts with a phone call I got from a gentleman looking for a car. And we had one for sale that he was interested in. And I mentioned, would you like to put a deposit on it? And he said, no, I'm not at that point yet, but he wanted to come look at it in about 3 weeks or so. So 3 weeks go by and we get a call from this guy in the morning saying we're flying out that day, and unfortunately the car he was coming to look at sold the day before. Guy just happened to walk through the front door and wanted to look at cars, and kind of without notice the car was now unavailable. So we talked about what to do. I told the guy, well, if you fly out with his wife, we'll take you out for a ride in the car, and I'll, show you around and educate you about cars, and you can try to get a feel for what exactly you're looking for as far as transmission and interior and condition and these kinds of things. And so they agreed, and they flew out, and the guy walks through the front door and he's like this jacked guy, and I'm like, he's gonna squish my head. But anyways, it was fine. He understood, and he wasn't ready to put a deposit on, so we had a nice visit. He decided he wanted a gray automatic, which is the hardest combination to find of the cars, and so I went on the hunt for an automatic, and wound up finding a car in Indiana. We went to purchase. I meet with a guy, we drive the car, park it in his driveway, and we kind of negotiate. I pay more than I'm comfortable with for this car, but I really wanted to make it right with this owner and get him his gray automatic, because I feel kind of guilty that he flew out to look at a car that was suddenly unavailable. So anyways, we agree to buy the car. We sign a bill of sale. He signs me over the title. I go to start the car, and it won't start. So I've already paid a little out of my comfort zone for this car, and now it won't start. So I'm doing the winch of shame, winching this into my trailer. And the gentleman selling the car says to me, well, I have a buddy about 10 minutes from here who owns 3 cars. One he wants to sell, and there's another one he would sell at the right price. He may sell. So it's kind of a wild story. I had the kids with me. It's probably 7 o'clock at night. We're 3 hours from home. We haven't eaten dinner yet. So me and Susie decided to go get the kids fed, and we'll decide if we can go look at this guy's car. Of course, I wanted to, because we're 3 hours from home, and it's going to be 6 hours to drive there and drive back, and the guy's like 10 minutes from us at this point. So we decided to go. We put a movie on for the kids in the truck, go look at the car. I wind up shaking hands with this guy that night on buying 2 cars. So it's kind of funny how, things change, where I literally went from feeling pretty bad about one purchase that was a car that needed some work and didn't want to start, to buying 2 other cars that seemed to be really good deals, and one purchase turned into 3. This car behind us is one of the 2 cars. This is a 7,499 mile car. Funny story, the owner said he specifically stopped driving it because he didn't want to see it hit 7,500. So this car is sold, and we're just getting ready to pull it out of our showroom and kind of do some work on this thing before it goes off to its new owner. And we just thought this was a good chance to tell this story. So it was kind of a cool adventure. About 3 weeks after I shake hands with this guy, Kevin and I decide to go pick up the 2 cars, and I'll kind of tell you, I'll let Kevin take over the story from here, because his day started out pretty early that day when we went to pick these 2 up.
Right, so I live 2 hours north of the shop here, so Mike has this great idea that, hey, let's leave the shop at 5 a.m. to go pick these cars up. Obviously, being around the Chicago area, we have to drive through Chicago to get into Indiana where the cars were. So I got up at about 2:30 in the morning to get ready for my day, and left my house at 3 to get down here by 5. So I got a pretty early start to my day that day.
So, and then Kevin shows up in the parking lot. We got 2 trucks and 2 trailers hitched up, and we're going to retrieve these 2 cars that we agreed to purchase. And so we drive up there, and first thing the guy says when we walk up to his house is he mentions some gas and oil stuff that we had talked about just briefly before I left. I said, hey, he's got a gas pump. That's kind of cool. Would you sell it? And he said, I don't know. I'll think about it and let you know when you pick up the cars. Well, anyways, he throws a number at me and like, do you want to buy this stuff? And me and Kevin are kicking it around. I really had not done any research as to what this stuff was worth or anything like that. And anyways, we kind of did a little hemming and hawing and a bit of, I felt a bit like an American picker there, and wind up coming home with some of this cool gas and oil stuff that you guys may have seen on our Facebook page, and we'll show you at the end of this video what we wound up coming home with that day. But it was just a neat day that we, one of my best memories of, picking up cars. Not often you get to pick up two nice cars and then come home with some memories of this gas and oil stuff. And then to top it off, we kind of get it back. It's probably about 7 o'clock at night now. So pretty darn long day for Kevin here for sure. And we load the thing, the gas pump into the showroom. And I think after Kevin left that night, I call my dad and say, I know there's a memory of my great-grandfather owning a gas station, and my grandfather worked there. And so I called him and asked him, what was the brand of gas and oil station, because that's not in my memory. And he tells me it was a Standard Oil station. And now this pump and swag that we got is Standard Oil gas pump, and just made the story that much more special. It's something I'll hang on to because now it's got kind of a tie to my ancestry and some more meaning to me, and definitely the brand of pump that I didn't know, but that's the brand I would like to own because that's what my great-grandfather owned way back when. So
now that stuff is permanent addition to the shop, to the showroom, and actually the one oil piece that we picked up, the oil collection bucket, we're actually using in the shop. So we put that back into service.
Yep.
And
so it's really cool to have this stuff around to remember that day and this whole story. So I'll always remember that trip because we got this gas and oil pump to remember it by. And guys, give me just a minute. I do have something I wanted to give Kevin, so I'll be right back. So this is a Standard Oil, is also known as Red Crown, and we'll show you a bit of that. But I just thought it'd be neat that Kevin would have something to remember it that he can hang up in his man cave, and that's for you.
Thanks, Mike. That's awesome. Appreciate that very much. Yeah, this was definitely one of my most memorable car purchase, rescue, adventures, whatever you want to call it. We had a really great time. I think my day ended up being pretty close to 20 hours that day by the time I left to the time I got home. And we went to pick that car up, and in my mind, I thought we'd be there for an hour or two, and I think we were there for like 4 or 5 hours.
Oh yeah, Mike.
He really talked our ear off, and
he had a bunch of stories and other collectibles he wanted to show us, and it was a neat day. But definitely, when you got that many hours of travel, we were kind of ready to get this stuff and go, and it took a while for sure.
And I think this car still has 7,499 miles on it, doesn't it?
It has not. I mean, we've driven it just very little, and we'll probably have to do some test driving to it now, so it'll go slightly over that. But good runner, and we'll just go through it a little bit to make sure the fuel system, brake system, clutch hydraulics, and all that is up to par. And then I think the guy wanted to do a few upgrades to it, and then this thing will be off to its new adventure.
We've really enjoyed having this in the showroom over the last couple months. It's a nice piece, nice example of a DeLorean here, and we're going to actually be pushing this out. So we'll add that onto the video here of us moving this out of the showroom and getting another one in here. So
okay, cool. And we'll pan you guys over to this gas and oil stuff, and I'll tell you a little bit about that too that I know. So here's the main piece that we picked up that day, and this is a Gilbarco gas pump. I forget the actual number. I looked it up, but anyways, it's a Gilbarco pump. It's a Standard Oil Red Crown. This piece is kind of neat. This is where you would actually see fuel flow through here, and there's a spinner, they call it, in there that would spin as the fuel comes through. The predecessor to this would have been the tall visible pumps, where they had a large glass container and you could see the gasoline, and because people were worried about the quality and color of the gasoline. And from there they went to these where you could still kind of see it, but it wasn't in this larger jar. And this is one of the most desirable pumps, having this red crown up the top. The crown itself is quite a valuable piece. This is a reproduction. You can tell by the mold seams that are in this, but even the reproductions are hard to find and still a rare and expensive piece. Most of them just have like a dome face up here, and this is like, as far as I know, like the most desirable crown at the top, just because it's way more intricate than just a round face. So neat piece. And then if we pan over here, we wound up coming home with this, another cool just steel old gas can. And then this piece I thought was really cool to come with it. This is an air dinger or a tire filler, and the way this would work, it actually has a switch here that would kick on a compressor when you lift it. Neat the way they made this old stuff. And you'd set it to your desired pressure, which that still works. And what this would do is, as it was filling the tire, it would ding. It would just ding, every second or so and slow down, and as you hit the desired pressure, it would quit dinging. And then you knew the tire was full, and you could take you could take your hose off the tire. So we have one other piece out in the shop that I'll show you guys. That's just a kind of we'll actually probably put it in the use. I'm guessing it's from the 50s. It's just a oil drain, nice steel made stuff, and we'll actually probably put that to use in catching oil and draining oil. So.
All right, so this is the oil collection bucket that we purchased on that trip as well. Very, very 1950s, 60s era.
Built like a tank.
And this is actually going to be put back into service here at some point.